Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. We are going to jump in to get a question from my inbox. Yesterday in the new moon reading, I was talking about potentially doing a reading that was kind of a should I stay or should I go kind of reading. I think that is where we're going to go ahead and land because I've got that question in my inbox in a couple of different forms. So we're going to just sum it up to call it "Should I stay or should I go?" and see what the cards have to say. So it'll be a general reading. For this collective. So if it resonates with you, then you may want to subscribe, maybe check out some of the other readings. Um, and of course, we know it won't resonate with everybody because everybody's not necessarily going to be part of the collective. But if you do find out that you are, just know that all of the readings are very much connected, and they have been since really the beginning. Okay, so jumping into to the should I stay or should I go? Let's get the energetic backdrop to get things started and just kind of see what kind of mood the energy is in today. So we've got the Three of Wands. This is in motion. It feels like communication in motion. Communication in motion. Something is in motion. Something is feeling like it's moving. It feels like it feels like it's moving. It's one of those days where everything kind of seems to have this flow to it and this motion to it. We've got the Mystic in reverse. There's a feeling like it's all kind of flowing, but it's not very well thought out. So the Mystic is sometimes it's around guidance or spiritual guidance. This feels like more general guidance, but it's not necessarily not spiritual guidance. So it's about not necessarily knowing where you're flowing and being aware you're not asking all the right questions. Let's just say that. Then we've got the Queen of Wands here in reverse. So willing to do a little bit of this feeling that things are in motion. There's still this grace coming from this new moon that allows the energy to still be, even though it's in motion, be comfortably quelled so that it just flows kind of, there's a nice hum to it. And I think that's where that ends, but there's a nice hum to it. There's a nice, even though it's not super clear where it goes from here or necessarily where it ends, it's not necessarily important to always know. In fact, that's one of the things that we often see. It's one of the reasons we don't ask the question, what's going to happen? Because that's not really the question that would imply that we're trying to control the future or trying to control the situation in a way that the universe is never going to allow anyway. It's more, what do you need to know about the situation, because that free will of you and anyone else involved, your person, those third parties, anyone else, can impact that. So what do you need to know about it going forward? Or in this case, what do you need to know about today? That feeling of being able to flow and not always needing to know where the answer is, that's part of the mood the energy seems to be in today, and the energy around you too. Still, I see communication in motion, but I don't necessarily see them communicating directly. I would say there may be some indirect communication. So social media posts that is potentially directed at you, or and I'm always kind of cautious about attributing any sort of social media post to, like, oh, I'm sure that's about me, or yeah, I'm sure it's about you. Sometimes we aren't sure. That's one of the things about social media. But if you see something like that and you've got that feeling, you kind of know. I mean, this is the energy around it. It's not as that kind of feels a little bit like dishonest. This is not a dishonest feeling. We have the Spirit of Cups here in the upright, and this is about being able to, it's having a little bit more emotional range than usual. And I guess I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing kind of some of the challenges here, not necessarily knowing where you're going, doesn't matter, not necessarily, I don't know. I feel like the access to the emotions almost is improved today over what we've been seeing. Like they woke up from something very negative. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I saw the Two of Cups spill out, and I was like, okay, that's clearly one of the top cards. And then we've got this card over here, and then, but I thought it was the Justice card because I just glanced at it and I saw the scales and I felt the honesty and the balance. And so we also have, of course, the Justice card, and then we have the Universe that's come out with it. So with the Universe, this is the end of a cycle. This is honestly getting to a place where the choices become more limited. Okay, choices become more limited, and I talked about this in a previous reading, and it was a soulmate reading. It was talking about getting your person was getting to the end of a cycle, but it was like the end of a maze that was shaped like a spiral. So when they got to the inside of it, the only place they can go is back toward what's chasing them. And I did a big long diatribe about it, but that was basically them getting to the end of that. This is that same sort of getting to the end of it, but not nearly as despair filled. This is much more balanced. It's much more being in a position to be able to partner. This is a much healthier energy that we find you in here. We have the Star, which says there are still some things that maybe haven't worked out that you've been searching for or waiting for. But you seem like you're handling it pretty well. I mean, there's this sense of you being able to manage it, even though the time frames are not, again, maybe moving a little bit more slowly than what you'd hope for. We have this Ten of Wands problem. This is what some of the time is for. You need a little bit of time to be able to figure out what it is that doesn't fit in your sense of responsibility. Something that you're carrying responsibility for is not actually your responsibility. And this is what you're going to spend that delay time doing, is figuring out what it is that isn't your problem, isn't your responsibility. And the thing is, maybe isn't your problem is the wrong words, because I feel like you very much consider it to be your problem, which is why you take it on as your responsibility. But it's something that, or some things that you don't actually have as much control over. So the sense of responsibility turns out to be a little heavier than it needs to be. I don't want to say it's misplaced. Like, you may possess some of the responsibility in there, but not in a direct way. Here, though, is where you seem to be recognizing that. So I feel like this Ten of Wands is like a question, and the Monarch, which is like the Emperor, is the answer. This is stable, masculine energy that has gone through some transformations and is all warmed up. That is honestly very much what's in the current energy right now. So let's get you a should I stay or should I go type of situation. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to take the question of what you should do, and we're going to place it over here in the you side of the reading, because it's going to be mixed in with lessons that we always want to make sure we have lessons for you in each one of these readings, or places for you to focus, lessons for you to focus on, because a lot of the lessons that come through are pretty consistent. But what do you want to focus on in light of what we see here is usually the background of the question. Sometimes it's the whole question that we're asking here. I think let's go ahead and do that and say, what is your prescription? What should you be doing? Especially with your focus that you should have given whatever else comes out in this reading. But over here, let's maybe learn a little bit more about their impression of this relationship as it currently stands. Because we did, I guess it was a couple days ago when we did the July refresh. Maybe it was the July. Yeah, it was the July refresh. We did it. It was a soulmate reading, and this other soulmate came out and just dominated the entire reading. And I was like, wow. So when we got into the extended, I jumped into, here's one question about the soulmate that you've been getting readings about. And then here's a question about the new soulmate and kind of how it all fits in. Because we know they are connected. Even those bonds are somehow connected, even if the people don't know each other. So I guess what I want to get into here is more even to bring that extended reading and some of the things that came into that, given the sort of flustered situation that your person is in, that we saw in that reading. What is their emotion? And we saw that they were really kind of tamping down emotion. We've been seeing that, but um, what is their thought on this? Their thought and or emotion on this overall relationship as it currently stands. And I'm especially interested in seeing that with this energy coming out over here. So Six of Cups in reverse. Um, we see that they're trying not to think about it very much. And so remember when we did this was actually 2 days ago because I think the refresh was more than that. Maybe, what is it, the 18th? So that would have been like the 15th. Anyway, this is my soulmate forgetting about me reading. One of the things that we discovered is they are not forgetting about you, but they are trying to minimize that thought. So the Six of Cups finds them still trying to minimize that thought. Which we now know is a combination between fear and pain that causes that, but so much inaccessibility of their own emotions that it kind of makes it difficult. So there's confusion for them, which is another thing we've seen a lot of. There's confusion for them because they aren't sure which way to go. They're practically wearing a blindfold when it comes to all these marvelous options that are out in front of them. So it doesn't do them very much good to have everything out in front of them if they aren't able to see beyond the blindfold anyway. That said, there is a sense that you got in on the ground floor. You really made an impact on this person's life, even when they weren't expecting it, and you made some of their pain evaporate. So they had been working through some kind of unsavory and difficult things and some feelings that maybe they didn't quite know how to manage. So these are the ones that feel like they want to come out, and then we'll check and evaluate those. So with the Three of Swords here, this is you making that pain evaporate. But you making the pain evaporate had an interesting additional impact of causing them to realize that on some level that they needed to go out and really search for what makes them happy. There is an energy of them recognizing that, but not necessarily an energy of them doing it. Okay. So we've got this Eight of Swords. They do a lot of, when they think about you, they do a lot of getting trapped in their own mind, a lot of getting worried. Anxiety comes out. They start thinking in circles. It's very uncomfortable for them, and that's part of the reason that they're trying to push it down. But in this energy, I'm not sure with this energy of movement if they're going to, I think they may try to use the rhythm to make it so they don't have to think about it. But it's definitely something that they're continuing to fight. You know, we asked the question of if they had forgotten, and they were working so hard to not think about it that it was obvious. Okay, they haven't forgotten. We have the Six of Wands that says they're very much still in the thick of it, but they're starting to come out into a more positive place. So this Judgment card, or this is actually called the Awakening card, matches the Wayfarer energy for me. So the Wayfarer energy has basically gone out in search of some wisdom that hopefully is going to change things. The Wayfarer can no longer sit where they are. There's that bursting feeling of needing to get out and do something a little bit different. The Awakening card says that it's happening. However, the Six of Wands is the card that tells me it's still very much in the process of happening. This is not past tense. They are putting too much of their energy into something that doesn't bear fruit or doesn't make sense. It's a waste of their good energy. They're throwing good energy after bad. It feels like they're insisting on winning at all costs in some place where it no longer matters, and even they know that. And they're willing to resort to ends that frankly disappoint them. This is the last vestiges, it feels like, and I'm not saying it's just going to start tomorrow, but when I see this and I feel this, and then I look over and I see this. So we have the Eight of Cups. This Eight of Cups is that quest for happiness that your person needs to go on, and that they recognize at some level they need to go on. But it's not really a conscious thought necessarily. And that Nine of Cups, that wish fulfillment, is a moving target. The thing is, though, when you get on it, then you can kind of just pay attention to the nuances as they change and then follow and continue to do right by yourself. But that's part of the awakening and part of what your person is recognizing. Right now, there's still a lot of resistance overall to the concept, but they've got this Eight of Cups that says they are actively making that search. So this is new energy that is kind of popping out for us and that we don't see much very often. So I'm glad to see this. I think we're going to have to look a little bit more deeply into it because I mean, this is a change. I'm curious to know, this is how your person isn't being, how they feel about things, but like there's been something that has caused this change. And I know we've seen the change coming to them. We've even seen a couple of tower cards that have fallen in their direction. We've got the Three of Cups here, which is, I feel like there's something that has, maybe we'll look into this, changes with regard to this third party. Maybe that's tomorrow's reading because it feels like there's been a shift, but the shift is inside them, but there is impact to this third party. So maybe that's what we look at for tomorrow. With the Seven of Wands, though, they this is like them trying to get up the momentum to make a big change, and this is like they actually get the momentum to do it, but working against them, we've got this Queen of Cups energy. So the Queen of Cups energy, unfortunately, is in reverse and it's unbalanced. And what it tells us is essentially that your person is not healed enough to make this total successful approach. Now, they might be healed enough to recognize this about themselves and be able to, I don't know if if it's one of those things that can be healed on the fly. They may still want to hold off from contacting you and trying to make any resolution there. If for those divine masculines who are watching this, even though this energy feels incredibly inviting, this may still not be the best of energies for the divine masculine to reach out. So if you're the feminine, which is the vast majority of the people watching this, whether you're female or not, it doesn't matter. It's the divine feminine and the divine masculine are roles that we take in the relationships. But if you are the divine feminine, recognize that this masculine does have some limitations, and they're about to come out. But they're going to come out during a confident and valiant sort of moment. So they're going to be real limitations, not something where they are already correcting for something that they're afraid is going to go wrong. So that's very telling. It's very honest. It's got the feeling of this is honestly where the limitation is. So what you see there, if you have the honor of being able to see it, dubious honor in some cases, if you're able to see that, then you've got to recognize this is part of why you want to be gentle in that experience, because you're a little bit farther along emotionally than they are. So let's take a look at you and figure out if you should stay or you should go, because we see some definite progress with them, but we also see some limitations. And I think tomorrow we will look back into that third party and see what's changed there, because it feels like something has changed, or this is even the energy of something in the process of changing. I guess I'm not super surprised by that, given the rest of the energies that have been happening around you guys lately. But I want to dig farther into this, even when we get into the extended. And I haven't figured out what form those questions are going to take yet. But I think for sure we need to understand what your person thinks about things. But more than that, what is this? What is this change? And then we also need to know how the change has impacted them with the third party. So I'll figure out how to phrase that, because I think that's tomorrow's reading, unless you guys jump in and give me different questions that tell me otherwise. So I'm going to now take a look at the should I stay or should I go question. So based on these things that you've seen, what should your areas of focus be? What should your advice be? And let's see. We've got the Seven of Swords in the reverse. It just comes out in every reading. Okay, so the Seven of Swords in reverse is a direct reference to your self-confidence and your self-trust. And it's starting to build. You're not getting cocky in this energy, but you are starting to get more confident. Confidence is not always part of that self-trust. And we've seen the Seven of Swords coming out often enough that I guess I'm not surprised that you have some modicum of self-trust and belief in that self-trust. You have the meditation card in reverse. This reminds me a little bit of the High Priestess, because it's like sometimes when people start to feel better, they'll stop taking a medicine. And this is like if you're using meditation to help to quell your concerns about things and help you see things a little bit more clearly, give you a little bit more time to think about them. If that's what you're doing, you're recommended to keep doing it even when you start to feel that confidence mount and you start to feel like things are getting a little better. So we've got this Warrior of Swords here, Warrior of Swords in reverse. That one, this is like the Knight of Swords. Okay, Warrior of Swords in reverse. This is a strong desire to watch this person, observe this person, see into their lives. And the thing that I'm feeling from this is that it may detract from the energy of the directions that you're actually also wanting to go. Just make sure that you are not spending too much time focused on your person and what's happening with them, because you've got both the meditation and now the introspection card here in the reverse. That's telling me there's wisdom out there, and we've seen this message again too. There's wisdom out there that you need to go rediscover. Also, some history you need to rediscover. We've got the Six of Pentacles, and whereas usually when I think of history, I think of the Six of Cups. This is Six of Pentacles as far as equal give and take of energy, but it's a direct reference to what you now know about that based on your experiences with this person. Eight of Wands, stop. Don't make the communication when the urge hits you. Think this through. How did they treat you? Are you saying that's okay? That is potentially the implication of a light communication, even if it's been quite some time since you last sent one. It's not necessarily, you have to take a good long look and determine if, sorry about that, I dropped a whole bunch of cards. You have to take a good long look and determine if it really makes sense for you to reach out to this person in this context. You have some time to think about it. The urge may hit you quickly, but you'll have time to think about whether it's really going in the direction that you want to go, or if it kind of undercuts your healing. You've got the Eight of Pentacles here, so that tells me with that emotional self-mastery that kind of comes through in that, and we see you've been working on that. This is where you get to decide whether it's the right thing to do, or whether maybe you just need to let the urge to reach out pass this time around. So we have the Nymph of Cups. There's that urge to reach out, just saying, hey, that's going to be there. We might need to know a little bit more about this person, because there's some changes happening here. And like I said, changes happening with this third party. We've got the Spirit of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so this is actually a relapse. This is actually a setback. You may find yourself all of a sudden behaving in a way that that you are not especially proud of. So you might find yourself wanting to chase this person where in the past you've said, no, I have the self-worth not to chase. Here though, there's almost that feeling that you start to feel weak about it. We have the Revolution card, which is like the Tower card. This puts you into a place where you have to reevaluate and say, wait a minute, how far have I really come? And that's what this is. This is that reflection, the Six of Swords, that reflection of how far have you really come in all this? Because you've actually done some pretty significant and important things here. And as you're sitting there considering whether you want to reach out again, knowing that it could potentially set you back, what you'll discover is you're already experiencing a little bit of an emotional setback. And so that's fine. Like, these things happen, but it may be that you don't want to reach out to this person and create an even larger setback. You may just want to allow the energy to calm down. Okay, I'm getting the hint to stop shuffling now. That usually happens very early on when I pick it up and go to find some additional insights. So, speaking of additional insights, we are going to go into the extended here. And with this one, I think we might actually just go to expand this question and get some new insights and find out what else wants to come out here with regard to this message, because this was this was the should I stay or should I go, and we didn't get like a super solid answer to that. What we got was don't call them. But we also got advice that if they contact you, they may not be ready. It doesn't have you going. So you're not really being told to go, but you're also not being told to stay. In fact, you're being told that you may experience a little bit of a setback that makes you more inclined to follow or to chase or to observe them than you maybe have been. And that could be something that you want to work against, but it doesn't tell you to leave. It tells you basically to stand your ground, and if they come to you, to recognize that they still have some healing. There is absolutely nothing in here that says that you need to stand and tolerate it if you receive poor treatment, or if you're feeling like it's time for you to disappear out of this situation. The Seven of Swords, which trumps all of this, what it really gets at is following that self trust that you've worked so hard to build. But this meditation and introspection tells you that may be a little challenging right now. Try not to call them, look deep inside to get some answers. So, we're going to go into the extended and get a little bit more of an impression of kind of where your person is with this, and maybe some of the changes that are happening with them as a result of the energy that we've seen over the last couple days. Thanks for being here with me for this. If you want to go to the extended, the link is down below. And I will look forward to seeing you again in tomorrow's reading.